Hi, my name is Anna. I am a single mother of a 15-year-old son with autism, ADHD, and a seizure disorder. My journey began when I was 35 years old. I got pregnant at 35. He was my first child. And back then, it was already said that it would probably be a complicated pregnancy. And so it was complicated, and yet I was excited. I really wanted to have a child of my own. I was already 6 weeks into my pregnancy when there was bleeding, and because of that, I was told that I had to be on bed rest for the rest of the 9 months. And then I eventually got gestational diabetes, a complication also that made them rule out even what they call diabetes insipidus. And so aside from being on bed rest, diabetes insipidus, at 32 weeks I was already admitted at the hospital because then we discovered of low amniotic fluid. And despite all of that, my dreams of how I would be as a mother, just the thought of motherhood and parenting was exciting enough for me to, just go by the instructions of the doctor, whatever I had to do to keep myself and my baby safe. Although there was already that awareness that it may be very complicated and there may be side effects to complicated pregnancy. When he was born, he was a very quiet baby. Hindi ako pinahirapan eh. I was able to sleep through. Like some mothers would say na they experience sleepless nights. I was blessed to be able to sleep through the night. As he was growing, malusog, and he was very cute and he was very chubby. And then I noticed na okay, he's not hitting his milestones on time. He turned over late, he crawled late, and he walked late. Only because in my mind, roly-poly kasi mataba, that he was having a hard time with his gross motor skills. Tapos, syempre, because nga he's my only child and I would always carry him. So, two things I thought, that he was chubby and he had a hard time, he was on the big side, and that I was always carrying him. But then we started noticing that he was too quiet. And because of that, my dad said nga, why don't we have his hearing check? So sabi ko, pumasa naman siya ng newborn screening, but nonetheless, okay, let's go have it checked. Because he wasn't babbling, he didn't have any repetitive sounds, and his hearing was okay. So at 1.5, still no speech, very quiet, my dad suggested that we put him into therapy. To which I agreed naman, no? Because in my mind, I was at work, single parent, rather than staying home with a yaya, hayaan mo nang mag-therapy. Meron namang ABCs, there are songs, and at least he could communicate with someone. Because then when I was at work, I really wasn't aware of what kind of communication there was, and whether there was even stimulation for some form of speech. So while waiting for the developmental pediatrician appointment, we did put him into speech therapy. He was attending speech therapy 2 to 3 times a week, and occupational therapy. So I thought of it as daycare, that he was still learning, not thinking of it as just therapy. And when you say therapy kasi, there's this feeling that there's something wrong. I took it as a daycare for him. Whatever it is he will get from there, he will benefit anyway. So we pushed through with that. And then moving forward, I noticed also when he would play, his play would be different. He would look at things this way, and if he had toys, he'd really look at it at his eye level. He had a lot of trains. He loved Thomas. He still loves Thomas. What he would do is he has a lot of trains. He loves trains. What Wacky does is he makes the paw on the floor and then looks at Thomas as it passes by in front of him. Even we're in the hospital, to keep him calm in the hospital, there's always got to be trains. Either that or he puts them up on a table or up on a ledge, basta eye level all the time. And I thought he just plays differently, and knowing that, I also would try and prompt him and say, no, this is how you play it, no, this is not the way it's done. When he had cars, he'd turn over the car and then he'd spin the wheels of the cars. He wouldn't pull back the car, let it run. Anything he'd do, anything with wheels, he'd turn it upside down and spin the wheels. So little by little, I was already noticing na parang teka lang, parang this is different already. And I had no time anymore to think of what kind of future is he going to have in terms of, my dreams of he will be in the football team like his titos maybe and his titas, or whatever sport he's gonna get in, or what profession, all of that down the drain. Because then it was slowly coming to me that that's not the path he's going to take. And so when he was older, he falls under that small group of children with autism who tend to get combative. So I've had my share of, battle scars, literally, figuratively, sa bunot, pulling off the shirt, spanking, scratching, all of that. This whole time, I had support. I will not say that I don't have support. I had support and I still do. But when I talk to the teachers and the therapists, it's usually this is the behavior, this is the behavior management technique. It's always that way. But in terms of taking care of me and how I feel, it was very hard to look for someone that I could talk to without fear of judgment, that if I say I am tired or nagdidilim ang paningin ko, or having to step back and just share that with someone. And I know there are coaches out there, but it really wasn't the kind of help, I guess, that I needed. I just needed to be someone to talk to. I needed a group of people who would actually understand what was going on within me. And having said that, and now having all the tools from as a sacred space holder, and I did have a little bit of NLP from the company that I work with, all these together saved my sanity, to say the least. But then these are just tools, again, for behavior. How to manage him, how to manage myself. But the community of who to be with, who understands exactly what I'm going through, now that I'm able to hold space for people, I have come up and I have created this space which I call Haven for Warriors. We are all warriors in our own way. We're all warriors in our own right. And at Haven for Warriors, this is a place where you can authentically be yourself, speak from your heart. It is a very safe space without even fear of being judged. Because people who are here really understand what you're going through. And as special needs parents, I'm sure you will understand when I say that once you meet a special needs parent as yourself, parang meron ng instant connection kasi kuha agad. We, without even having to exchange a lot of stories, we know in our hearts what each one is going through. But then hindi nga napag-uusapan. So with Haven for Warriors, it's a space that I have created, and I will be holding space for mothers also of children with special needs who looks for someone to talk to, who needs a group of people also to be with, just to listen and not be judged, and just be present, be heard, and maybe listen. You don't really have to speak if you don't feel like speaking, but if you want to just listen in, that's also okay. So the space that I did not have as Wacky was growing older, I have created this space now, not only for others, but it's also for myself. So this community of support that will help us continue to thrive despite all these challenges. We will continue to still have these challenges as our children get older. And maybe we can even share best secrets and just really be with each other and know that we are all in the same journey together. So I honor each and every one of you, and I really do look forward to welcoming you to Haven for Warriors. We will be opening our doors in November. So I look forward to seeing you and share stories with you.